Hello again. Good to be seeing you back in the garage. This isn't even beer. But if you're watching this means it's getting a little bit warmer out. Down here in Arizona, it's already in the 80s and 90s. Spring has already sprung, and summer's starting to bare its ugly teeth. So it's getting hotter, which means I'm going to be spending more time in the garage as the season winds down here. Work seasons are slowing down. I'm not racing that much. We're waiting for some desert races. And I'm going to be spending some time in the garage now building some things. And with that, I figured I'm going to start a new segment called Product Spotlight. And what I'm going to do in this one is basically just highlight some of the things that I've tried and some things that people have suggested to me. And one of those being Dune Beamz, the chase bar. This is a small company right now. You guys probably have only heard a few things about them. I've posted about them before. I've posted about them on Instagram. But I bought a chase bar from Dune Beamz, and it's actually a local guy here. Bought the chase bar from him. It's a universal kit, and I put it on, and I like it a lot, actually. So in this video, I'm just going to go over what it is, how you hook it up, some of the details, and what I think about it.
All right, so first question you may be asking yourself, what is Dune Beamz? Dune Beamz, as of right now, it's a universal chase light or brake light, basically. And what I mean by universal is it doesn't come as plug and play. Now, that usually turns some people off because a lot of people like plug and play things, being able to just plug it in and it works just fine. I understand that, but this is a little bit different. It comes with a lot of features. So it comes with about, it comes with about 6 different wires on it. Now, 3 of them are basically your normal functions, right? So you have black, which is your ground, red, which is your constant power or your standard tail light, and then yellow would be your brake light or bright. And then there's 3 other wires to do different functions. So you have a red strobing light, so you can choose to use that in place of the bright or your standard. There's also a white rear-facing light, and then there's also a white underglow light or license plate light, depending on whatever you want to put underneath there. So you can kind of pick and choose your options, wire it up, and you're ready to go. Now, those aren't your only options. If you go on the website and you go underneath the tab, I think on the side tab there, you can go underneath and look at all the different functions that the lights have. There's also several different colors, or I think there's 2 different colors. Right now there's red and there's blue. So you can get blue instead of red. And there's also in the works, hopefully in the future, we get an amber, because a lot of people who do a lot of desert racing want to use an amber chase light. For right now, this is big in the dunes. With a lot of the duners out there, they like to use the chase light just so they can see and be seen. Have a little bit of underglow, some style to your quad, and also the brake light on there, super bright. Even just the running light, it's kind of hard to tell when you're sitting up top. You look down at the light, it's got this curvature to it. I don't know if you guys can see that. A little bit of curvature to it, so when you look straight down, you can't really tell at first, and then you go behind the quad and you look, and the normal running light is actually really bright. It's a very clean look, very pretty simple unit, and wiring it up was a cinch, which I will show you guys next. All right, let me show you what I mean. All right, so what I wanted to do was pretty simple. I just wanted a brake light back, and I wanted a running light. That's all I really wanted. Kind of like a factory setup, but with this new Dune Beamz, which is a good LED setup. And it doesn't take much draw. It's very low amperage. So you're not going to drain a battery if you leave it on for a little while. Anyway, to find out which lights are what, just went and grabbed a spare battery, pulled out the wires. Everything's pretty much already cut like this. I just twisted these together because I figured out which ones I didn't want. And I started with black, which is your negative, just held it on the negative post of the battery. And then I would take each one of these wires and run it over to the positive, and then the light would come on, and I'd figure out which one was which. Very easy. So the red, like I said, that was just your constant, so that was your constant tail light. Yellow was your brake light, because that was a brighter red ring. And then I went through each one of these, and I figured out which one was the white rear spotlight. Basically, if you put the thing up front, it would almost be good enough for a headlight. And then you had the blue and the green. One was your white underglow light, and the other one was your red strobing. And that was it. You just went through, touched each one, figured out which ones you want, and then take the rest away. And that's what I was left with. Now, when it came to actually wiring it up to the quad, it was a little bit more complicated just because Honda uses different colors for their ground and their brights and their constant. But you can look that up online, Manuals Lib, other websites, forums. People are all over the place that can help you diagnose or basically tear apart the wiring diagram for the rear of a Honda, and it's pretty easy. Green is your ground. Green with the yellow stripe is your bright or your brake light, and then brown is your constant power, which is your tail light. So once you figure that out, you can basically pull the wires that you wanted corresponding on the chase bar and then wire it in. And all I did was I went to AutoZone and I got a 3-wire all-weather plug. Basically, you could use this for headlights on trucks and things like that, or tail lights, whatever you want. I pulled that 3-wire plug. It comes with both ends, male and female end. Put the female end here on the quad, basically running from the quad, and then I wired it up straight to the chase bar, and now I have a plug-and-play rear tail light for the quad. It's a super simple setup, very easy to get that. I think the plug was $4 at AutoZone, and it's all weather. It has a little rubber boot and everything in there, so when you plug it in, you can't get any water, or hopefully you don't get any water in there. Shouldn't see any mud in there, so you can plug it in and unplug it. I go racing, so I have to unplug all these lights usually. But whenever I go back out to the dunes, or I go out and I ride at night out here in the desert, I can just plug everything back in and go. All right, now as far as mounting goes, again, even more simple. But in the kit, he sends you a box, comes bubble wrapped. It's actually wrapped very nicely, boxed up pretty well. And it comes with everything you need to mount it. And I'm pretty sure he's now adding directions to the box to help you wire it up. If you need help with directions on how to wire it up, he also has what each color wire does on the website. So you can look up a little list of what each wire is. That should help you figure out what you want to do with it. But in the box, you're going to get this clamp right here. He gives you the option for either 1 or 2 clamps. You really only need 1 if you're just goofing off, weekend warrior type thing, and you're just kind of cruising around. You really only need 1 clamp, but I went for 2 because I'm going to go beat on this thing pretty hard, and I do at times. So I got both clamps. Comes with the rubber boots on the inside, the Allen head screws that clamp down on here. Also comes with these bolts to help run it to this backing plate right here. And it comes with all these little screws, but me, going through another blonde moment, I didn't Loctite these, so I actually lost one. There's a lot of vibration that goes on back there, so I would suggest Loctiting these little screws back here to this backing plate. Now I know what you're thinking. Tiny little screws, not very conducive to keeping a chase bar on the back of your quad. Well, I went and beat this thing through the desert pretty hard with this on. I lost 1 screw, and I was ripping through the desert across some pretty nasty whoops and things like that. It held up just fine. Loosened up one time, I had to tighten it up. Again, that was my fault. I didn't use Loctite. But these clamps, plenty strong enough to do it. That little backing plate, put a little Loctite in those screws, and you're good to go. Tighten these things down as you want, but I would suggest when you put it on there, this little clamp going to your grab bar, it's going to be a little tight. Use that little Allen key that he provides. You can usually get that thing fed through there and tighten up each side evenly, and it clamps down just fine. I didn't have any issues. Plus, you can adjust it up and down, left to right, however you want it. And it looks good. Nice, clean install, and it looks great. Very bright, and again, doesn't draw much amperage. So you don't got to worry about it blowing fuses or anything like that, which I don't think it would anyway. But one of the scariest things at night to me, especially when I'm out in the dunes, is when I'm across the dunes, it's getting late, and I didn't head back soon enough, and now it's starting to get dark on us. Before, that used to be an issue because I wasn't running a tail light or headlights, or a lot of people I know will strap flashlights to the front bumper. I just don't want to do that anymore. So I went ahead and mounted up a headlight, just a single cube. It seems to work just fine. I can see just fine with it. And then that tail light helps me be seen, which is the biggest thing to be. When you have a lot of razors and sand cars and trucks and stuff ripping around out there in the sand, they don't tend to see little quads, especially by themselves, or small groups of quads, cruising along the dunes just trying to get back to whether you're in the washes or on the pads or something like that, especially leaving the drags. They don't tend to notice you very much because they are ripping and they've got full light bars and everything on, and they are just crushing it across the desert or across the sand at night, and you're just a small speck. So it's nice to have something like that on where it's bright enough that you can be seen from a long ways off. Always nice to have. Now for me, I always mount mine to the grab bar. It's just the simplest, easiest place. I'm not gonna be able to rotate this all the way down with my number plate there, but it's a solid spot and I haven't had any issues with this thing coming loose or vibrating or anything like that. I basically just put the top screw in first, get it semi-clamped on there, grab the next one, feed it right into the bottom, and now with those rubber boots, they are a little tight, so you have to squeeze it just a bit, but as soon as you get those threads started, you're good to go. And then, on these Hondas, you'll see you got a little bit of a gap right here. I actually have a tow strap in here right now, but I feed the wiring harness from the quad side up and into this tool bin. This is where your old shop manual and your toolkit would be. Your toolkit would normally sit here, but it's got that little gap in the plastics right here. Basically, all I gotta do, take the free running end, feed it up and underneath and into that little tool bin. Plug it all together, tuck it down in there, and this usually holds everything nice and tight. Put the seat back on, and voila. Pretty clean install. Now, I've seen those things clamped on several different ways. If you go on to Instagram, you find Mr. Kayak, you'll see he's got that thing tucked up way underneath his rear fenders. So with that plate that comes that you can screw to the back, basically you can figure out a way if you want to mount it to your subframe so it's tucked way up and underneath and an even cleaner look, or you can just go the simple route like I did. Clamp it onto your rear grab bar there and then unclamp it whenever you don't want to use it. And again, it's universal. So you can clamp it to just about anything you want that has a grab bar like that. Now that's a Wrath grab bar. It's a little bit thicker than some. I know the Alba grab bars are a little thinner, but those rubber boots seem to clamp on really well, so I'm sure they'd be fine on a slightly smaller diameter. Well, there you have it. Great little product. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Hope it was helpful. And if you guys do decide to get yourselves one, use that little code, like I said, DuneBeamz.com. Get yourself 10% off, and hopefully I catch you guys ripping around out there. Oh, man. Is it that hot already? My God.